You hear the alert, and for half a second, your brain reaches for the old instruction like it was ever meant to save you. Open the windows, equalize the pressure, help the house survive. So you move toward the glass instead of away from it. While the light outside turns strange, the walls begin to tremble, and the air itself feels tight, charged, wrong. The wind no longer sounds like weather, it sounds engineered, closing in. And every second you spend working latches, lifting frames, or hurrying from room to room feels useful, which is exactly why the trap works. Because this is how people lose the seconds that mattered, standing at a window while shards of glass and a splintered 2x4 come through the house faster than the body can react. And if you are still trying to save the structure when that moment arrives, the decision has already been made for you. Opening the windows will not save the house. It will cost you the only thing that mattered. In a tornado warning, the deadliest mistake is the delay that feels responsible. The real danger was never trapped air inside the house. That idea survived for decades because it sounded logical. But tornadoes do not kill houses with pressure. They kill people with velocity. The invisible killer here is delay, the quiet theft of the seconds you needed to disappear from glass and exterior walls. While you are moving toward windows, the storm is already loading the air with debris. Roof shingles, broken branches, splintered lumber, pieces of someone else's home now traveling faster than a car on the highway. Tornadoes turn neighborhoods into shrapnel fields, and the moment a warning is issued, the only resource that matters is time. Every step away from shelter is a step deeper into the impact zone. A tornado does not need your windows closed to destroy a house, and it does not need them open to spare it. The destruction comes from something far simpler and far more violent: wind load and debris impact. When a tornado passes over a building, the air outside can be moving faster than 150 miles per hour. Roofs lift, walls flex, entire sections of buildings begin to fail under forces they were never designed to survive. But the real injuries rarely come from the structure collapsing alone. They come from what the wind carries with it: a torn branch, a roofing tile, a 2x4 ripped from a nearby fence. Once airborne, those objects do not behave like debris anymore. They behave like projectiles. Now, imagine where you were standing while trying to open a window, at the glass, at the exterior wall, exactly where those projectiles enter first. And every second you spend there is another second the storm closes the distance. The first trap is the instinct to protect the house before you protect yourself. The warning arrives, and instead of disappearing into shelter, people start moving through the structure like they are preparing it for impact. A window here, another one in the next room. Maybe just crack them open. It feels responsible. It feels useful. But every step toward another window pulls you farther from the only place in the building designed to keep you alive. Meanwhile, the storm is already breaking things outside. Branches snap, fences tear loose. Pieces of wood begin lifting into the air. And the longer you stay exposed near glass and exterior walls, the closer those objects get to you. The second trap is even simpler. You move toward the windows at the exact moment the outside world is turning violent. Glass feels like a boundary, but in a tornado, it is one of the weakest surfaces in the entire structure. When debris strikes it, the barrier disappears instantly. A branch can punch through. A 2x4 can enter the room like a spear. And the glass itself becomes hundreds of razor fragments moving faster than your reflexes. People imagine danger outside the house, but when the window fails, outside and inside become the same place. And if you are standing there when that happens, you are standing in the entry point. The third trap is the instinct to finish one last task before you disappear into shelter. Ian, close the blinds, grab the phone charger, lock the back door, maybe check the garage. These are ordinary routines, the kind that make the brain feel organized while everything outside is becoming violent. Under stress, familiar actions feel safer than sudden retreat. But tornado warnings do not unfold on a comfortable schedule. Wind begins rising. The structure starts to vibrate. Loose debris is already lifting off the ground. And while you are still completing those final household tasks, the storm is already arriving at the walls of the house. The correct response is brutally simple, and that is why people hesitate to follow it. When the warning sounds, you abandon the house and move your body toward the safest part of the structure immediately. No preparation, no adjustments, no checking the windows. The goal is distance from glass, distance from exterior walls, and the lowest level possible. A basement if the house has one. If not, an interior room or hallway on the lowest floor. Then you protect the parts of the body that cannot be replaced, your head, your neck. Because when debris begins entering the structure, survival is no longer about the house. It is about what your body can withstand. The reason this mistake repeats across generations has very little to do with weather and everything to do with human psychology. When the brain senses danger, it looks for actions that restore a sense of control. Small household tasks feel manageable. Hiding feels passive. So, people start managing the environment instead of escaping the threat. But tornado survival does not reward activity. It rewards positioning. And the people who survive are almost always the ones who move first, not the ones who try to organize the house. Tornadoes rarely give you the luxury of multiple mistakes. The warning is the moment the clock starts moving. Outside, wind speeds can climb past 100 miles per hour within minutes. Objects that weighed hundreds of pounds on the ground begin moving like thrown tools in the air. By the time the noise grows into that deep, mechanical roar, the storm is already close. And if you are still moving through the house instead of hiding from the windows, the margin is already gone. During a tornado warning, the house is not your priority. Your body is. Tornadoes do not negotiate with common sense, tradition, or the advice someone heard decades ago. They obey physics, wind, velocity, impact. And the people who survive are almost always the ones who stop trying to manage the building and instead disappear into the safest space they can reach. Fast. No hesitation. Because in the moment when debris finally breaks through the structure, survival no longer depends on what you fixed in the house. It depends on where you chose to stand. If you have ever heard someone say you should open windows during a tornado, share this with them before the next warning siren sounds.